Today is the 10th of January. I've been really glad that they've been prosecuting people. They're making arrests about everything that happened at the Capitol. Of course, a bunch of my relatives are still making the completely non-evidence, baseless claims that Antifa was there. I don't get them. They're like claiming that free speech is being taken away because, people are like, oh, this isn't good. So Google and Apple and Amazon are all dropping Parler and, the deep, dark conspiracy theories. They're trying to be shut down because they actually incite people to paranoia, which everyone knew, but they didn't take seriously. They, for whatever reason, thought of white supremacists and conspiracy theorists and freaking extremists as a joke, as if it would never turn into something more aggressive or violent, even though it already was. Most acts of mass murder or violence done in this country are actually done by conspiracy theorists and white supremacists. It's not actually done by, like, a terrorist group coming from another country or something. It's actually just homegrown terrorism. And people act like that's a big joke or, oh, that's not really how it is. And they're starting to take it more seriously, which is good. But at the same time, it's like they already knew. Part of the problem is, you've got a president who is in charge of military stuff who doesn't want to use any of it because it's his own followers. And, like, he didn't even call in the National Guard until 6 p.m. on the day of, even though people were suffering and struggling. Like, you can't send fundraising emails to people telling them that they're going to get MAGA camo if they join Trump's army and donate to Trump's army, and then expect them not to think that they're a militia when they are conspiracy theorists. They're a bunch of extremely set in their ways people who see a changing world around them, and something that changes, they don't relate to it. Or they think, this isn't what I was raised with, or whatever it is. So then they go on the internet looking for something that tells them, why? Why am I the one who's different? What is going on? Because I don't feel like I'm wrong. So then they go looking for something that tells them they're not wrong. They find it, and then they're excited, and then they go tell someone, and that person's like, and so then they slowly ostracize themselves from society. And every time they find a yet more extreme or radical theory on things, or more big lie, and they accept it, they get ostracized even more. And it's just an endless cycle of confirmation bias and isolation. They get more and more isolated every time they get more and more confirmation bias. And they just get addicted to paranoia. Like, I know so many freaking people that I grew up around, that I was raised by, that I'm related to, who are addicted to paranoia. And it's like they just feed on this crap. The thing about stuff coming down that feeds into that frenzy is, A, it's unhealthy to be that paranoid, or that radicalized. It's not good. But B, the First Amendment, people like to use that a lot to turn their opinion into a fact. that they have every right to state their opinion and believe what they want to believe. And that's, their right under the First Amendment. And in reality, the First Amendment is to protect people from being persecuted for speaking out against a tyrannical government. The First Amendment does not mean you have no consequences when you say something. If you go around speaking lies, that is bad, and it's going to have consequences. You're not going to escape those consequences by saying, oh, but the First Amendment. The First Amendment does not in any way, shape, or form keep you from having consequences. People are like, oh, I said something and now I lost my job. That's bad. That's terrible. That's breaking my First Amendment right. No, it's not. They're like, oh, this business can't silence, the voices of people who are saying this stuff. Yes, they can. Even besides just being a business, your First Amendment right has nothing to do with being able to spew a bunch of opinions out at each other and be each other's choir that you're preaching to. That's not protected by the First Amendment. It really isn't. As far as all of that goes, I'm just so grateful that people are being prosecuted